Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Schmidt. I'm the Vice-Chancellor and President of the Australian National University. Welcome, one and all. ANU is located on the traditional lands of the Australians' First People, and as is our custom, we open our events with a welcome to country. And I'd like to invite Paul House, custodian for the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, to welcome us to his country. Paul, over to you.
Gawari, Brian. Thank you, Brian. And Jumboro Marambang. Good morning. Baladu Yaba, Ngambri, Wogalu, Nyang. I'm speaking Ngambri Wogalu language. Jumboro Marambang. Good morning. Yilangalangbo, Gibabango Wogabo, Megabo, Diranilbang Maranya. Ladies and gentlemen, young men, young women, distinguished guests, Nyari and Jamali, Ngambri, Guma, Wogalu, Wallabala, Ngunnawal, Mujigang. Yanang Bujayandu, my respects to Ngambri, Guma, Wogalu, Wallabala, and Ngunnawal, elders, past and present, Nyari and Jamarabu, Mujigango, Nurumbanjigu, Ninya Yiridu, my respects to all elders and all peoples from all parts of the country, Ngambri, Wogalu, Wallabala, Ngunnawal, Ninyuga, Gaimbanyu, Ninyuga, Nurumbango Dara, Ngambri, Ngunnawal people, welcome you all to country. Yinjamara, Yinjamarabu, Yinjamalgiri. It means respect, uphold, go slow, take responsibility. It's a philosophy, it's an ideology on country. Mamba wara na minyagu, wujagabinya, wara daraigu, winningala gubaligu. Looking to see, listening to hear, and learning to understand. Yinjamara, magagiri biringa bogongu diranda. Respect is in the journey of the bogong moth in the mountain. Yinjamara balabira, binabira wurawin Ngambri Ngunnawal. Respect is in the rivers, quietly moving through country. Yinjamara bala wala mwangadabu, murin marindabu, banmoyu, gurungambira. Respect is in the grinding stones and the carved trees made long ago on Ngambri Ngunnawal country. Yinjamara wirinbira marindul gobu, wirinbira yandul gobu, wirinbira gayira gobu. Respect is for the now, the past, the present, and the future. Modern Waginya, Yinjamara Mura Mura Wirinbira Dara, a respectful way of life, cares for country. This welcome to country is made in the spirit of peace and a desire for harmony for all peoples of the modern ACT and surrounds. And our main aim as local custodians is to establish an atmosphere of mutual respect through the acknowledgement of our ancestors and the special recognition of our rights to declare in the pre and post contact of the region. We've cared for Mother Earth since the dawn of time, and evidence of our sovereignty, our ownership can be seen everywhere throughout the land. Our signature is in the land, not just our DNA, and taking care of country is important to us all. The more we look after country, the more country looks after us. We continue to respect our obligations to protect and conserve our culture and heritage and care for our ancestral lands and waters. Our ancestral places include Ngambri, Wirrawa, Amangala, Namaji Gajimbi, Ginandera, Gurayara, Tidbindula, Yarralamla. Our rivers, the Murrumbidgee, the Goodradigby, the Goobragandra rivers, the land, the plants, the animals. It's all connected, not just environmentally, but also spiritually. In conclusion, I want to talk about the law of the land. The law of the land talks about giving respect and honour to all people in all parts of the country. Give honour, be respectful, be polite, be gentle and patient with all, then people will respect you. Respect everything living and growing. Please look after the land and the rivers, and they will look after you. In the spirit of peace and reconciliation, on behalf of our elders and our families, I say Gurabari, welcome, and Wurragawari, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And it is wonderful to have you welcome all of our prospective students today. I too would like to acknowledge and celebrate the first Australians on whose traditional lands and airwaves we're all meeting, pay respects to elders past and present, not just the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people here where I'm at, but we have people from and beyond today. And so to all elders past and present. ANU is a place to share knowledge, a place to share knowledge that many people will not have experienced in their lives. And one of that thing is the cultural knowledge of the area that we live in that goes back for more than 20,000 years. And it is quite remarkable to me that our Ngambri Center to our campus has been the meeting place in this area for Indigenous peoples for just generations upon generations. And it is indeed the place where Canberra itself gets its name. And so if you join ANU, you will be learning about connection to country, just among one of the bazillion other things that you would do when you're on our campus. 2020 has been a very unusual year, and I know all of you have been impacted. It's been a tough time here as well. We're very lucky to have almost no COVID-19 cases in the ACT the entire year, but I'm afraid that as the kind of center of the country, we feel everyone else's pain as well. But our community at ANU has shown incredible camaraderie and resilience, and we have been very good at working together to support one another and to support our students who are scattered around the world, unable to be on our campus. If you come to ANU, you will be part of that community. And I do call it a community. It's not where I'm the boss and you're the student. We're all really part of the entire ecosystem. With COVID-19 and travel restrictions in place, like many institutions, we've had to be creative in showing you our campus on open day. Now, Canberra is one of the only places in the country that has winter, and today is the most wintry day we've had. So I'm rather grateful we're not having you all out on our campus, because we had snowflakes on our campus earlier today, and it is about 4 degrees and blowing a gale out right now. So I think this has been a good time to have a virtual open day today. So we actually are having a virtual open week. You may not be able to walk around and explore our campus in person, but the online format means you can take your time to explore different degree options, different student services, as well as the extracurricular activities on offer, all from the comfort of your home. And so you're gonna have a lot, probably more opportunities now. And we have lots of opportunities for you to get out and talk to people here if you wanna ask questions. And so I encourage you to go and use those options. Making a decision about where to go to university is a big one. It'll probably be one of the most important decisions you have to make, because it is the start, typically, of your independent living. And it really forms the friendships for lifetimes and what you want to do throughout the rest of your career. This week, you're going to hear a lot of people about why ANU might be the right place for you. Being the national university, we have a unique mission to be a resource for the nation and a training ground for the next generation of leaders. I want you just to look around what's happening in the world right now. Never have universities been more important. And here at ANU, we have been part of the response to the pandemic and all of the associated things that have been going around the pandemic in a whole range of disciplines. So, for example, our economists have been in helping the federal and state governments on economic reform that looks at how we share the burden of debt rather than passing it on to your generation. We have been training healthcare workers on the front line, making PPE in our normally student-run maker spaces and other essential equipment that is needed, because we have the capacity to do it and we can turn it on like that. We've been researching new methods to test for COVID-19 and do it quickly. And for anyone who's taken the test, I have back, believe it or not, in March, right at the beginning of the pandemic. It's not very fun to have this thing stuck up your nose. It's not awful, please do it. But the results do take a couple days to come back, and they're relatively expensive and slow. So we're working on how to do it faster and easier. But the work we do at ANU and the study pathways you might consider, the idea of university is not just to do one little thing, but it's to expose you to many different ideas that will take your career in a myriad of possible directions. Because normally, at this stage in your life, you're not quite sure what you want to do. I certainly, when I was 17, and my version of this back in the United States, I did not know what I wanted to do. And being able to become an astronomer, ultimately won a Nobel Prize, that was certainly not something on my horizon at that time. And one of the things I think people forget is just how many opportunities we have in life, and we tend to downplay those opportunities. But the key is to get a good start and be at a place that you're going to be happy and excited and exposed to things that allow you to grow as a person, not just do what you've seen in the past. So ANU is a smaller university than most in the country. We have just over 100,000 alumni in our 75 years, and we would expect next year around 18,000 students, 9,000 undergraduates and about 9,000 postgraduates. But as a small university, we do pack a punch. We have many world leaders, both in Australia and beyond. We have CEOs, we have entrepreneurs, and you're going to get to have a chance to hear from some of them this week. Many of our high-profile graduates will people you know. For example, Prime Minister Kevin Rudd learned his Mandarin here at ANU, and it's one of the best at that in the world. People like Julian Assange's lawyer, Jennifer Robinson, did her law degree here. Indigenous leaders like Marcia Langton also did their degrees here. But there's a whole raft of people, outstanding alumni who are driven and hardworking, doing what they want to do to change the world. And sometimes they just emerge. For example, 3 years ago, Hannah Gadsby, one of our graduates, went from being someone who was known in Australia to being a worldwide phenomenon. And she didn't know what her future would be. And that's what I mean for each of you. You want to give yourself the tools to take the opportunities in life as they're presented to you. What makes our graduates unique are the people they studied with, the friends they have made, and the option available to them when they graduated to pursue their passions. All of this had an ANU education underpinning what they did next. But it's a little different here. We're what I would describe as pretty hands-on and a high touch. We don't just have you come into campus for an hour and a half and go back home. We have people from across the country, across the world, here on our campus every day. And those are the people who really make the education a rich experience. Yes, we have some of the best professors in the world, and they help sort of, conduct the conversations, but it's really your fellow students that I think make the biggest difference. Now, maybe most of you do not know exactly what you want to do yet. As I said, I certainly wasn't sure when I was your age. Perhaps you just want options when you graduate, or you want to go and make the world a better place. You want to help solve the biggest problems facing humanity. Maybe you just want to go out and make money. None of you will quite know what the future faces you at this point, but I do think that we offer one of the best educations, not just in Australia, but anywhere in the world, and I am certainly committed to making that happen. Now, it's a funny year, and so gap years are not as easy this year as they have been. Maybe your parents just want you to go and get a degree. So how do you decide amongst, what is sort of a shaken up world that we're in now? For me, the best advice I can give you is to ultimately follow your passion. Now, people will say, oh, your passion doesn't pay the rent. Well, I disagree. If you do something and do it well, that passion allows you to develop the skills that you can use for almost anything in life. And I can't emphasize that enough. Trying to go and get a degree that you really don't want to do is a really bad idea. So if you, like me, are concerned, for example, some of the challenges facing humanity as we go to almost 8 billion people on planet Earth, you can really go through and think about those problems. And that can be all sorts of things. How do we have democracy thrive? How do we make the economy resilient to shocks? How do we go through and create new energy sources for the future? How do we maintain the environment? How do we create new technologies that can revolutionize our lives on a day-to-day? All those things are in your grasp here as part of a degree. We have people like David Lindenmeier, who is working with the Victorian government to look at the environmental impacts of climate change and logging and forests. He's not always a popular person, but the reality is we have the ability to understand what the future looks like, and that helps us make decisions now about your future. You could imagine doing a pathway working alongside in your later years with our Disaster Risk Science Institute, who in January by smoke and ash helped emergency services by tracking the movement of bushfires and predicting their destructive path using satellites. This is science at its best. And we're working now to be able to detect bushfires within minutes of them starting when they're the size of your dinner table, and you can put them out really quickly and easily. These are the things that will make the future better, and we are working on. Over in engineering, you can study under people like Genevieve Bell, who established a world-first AI master's program, bringing together students across disciplines, where you look at how artificial intelligence and data and machines come together and have impact in society. And how do we design those systems? How do we regulate them so that they don't become creepy and sort of 1984-like in our lives? This is a new discipline that we are building from the bottom up here with one of the world's great technologists. Or you may be a bit more old school and want to learn about the classics. What are the politics in ancient Greek that can teach us about modern democracy and resolving conflicts? The Thucydides trap, as it's known, you'll hear about as something brought out in ancient Greek between Sparta and Athens, and that's now playing out between the US and China. And how do we learn from that so that we avoid that trap? But you can also go through, to example, our glass-blowing classes, where transcribing the history of merchant trade and New World exploration through art is one of the other things that we do here at absolutely the leading edge in the world. We have one of the best public policy schools in the world. And we are looking at how we can support economies, not just our own, but those around us, because their economic health actually will impact on our economic health, again, throughout your generations. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have, through our flexible double degrees, you can make more than 600 combinations. So really anything you want, although some combinations probably make more sense than others, but you really do have the choice. And whether or not you like doing rowing or debating or chocolate appreciation or film, we have over 300 clubs and societies you can get along with to sit alongside your academic learning. There's indeed more choices and more opportunities than you would ever have time for. The apiary people are trying to convince me to bring a hive home, and I'm trying to figure out if I have time to make my own honey. That's just another one of the things you can manage doing here. Finally, there's one thing that makes ANU unique in Australia, and that is our residential on-campus experience. Now, I've already told you that it is your colleagues, I think, that are probably ultimately the most valuable resource here when you come to university. More than a quarter of our students, around 6,000 people, live in one of our accommodation options. And I really encourage people, especially in their first year, to try to find a way to live on campus. And we do have a large number of scholarships now, and we're growing them every year. But I think it's just a really good time to get out of your comfort zone, meet people from all over the country and the world, people doing almost anything imaginable, and some of the smartest, most creative people you will ever meet in your life. Truly one of the most important times in your life and one of the great experiences of your life. So I would encourage you to make sure you spend some time getting some of the info sessions in there. Before I conclude, I really do want to encourage all of you to use this week to learn as much about ANU as you can. Ask questions. Make sure you have a sense of what you're going into. It's always going to be uncertain. I remember I just was jumping into the unknown, but I was my best guess. But I ended up doing physics and astronomy, not because I thought it would give me a job, but because I had a passion for it. And the reality is that passion translated into a set of skills that I could have gone and done almost anything imaginable that the world has thrown at me, including running a university, not something that was ever on my list of ambitions when I was your age. So please go through, engage with the huge program of activities that are occurring as part of our virtual Open Week. There are lots of live presentations, but you can also go and see the recorded on-demand versions as well. I encourage you to enjoy the virtual Open Week. I will be back later this afternoon doing a Ask Me Anything, and I'll try to answer any question I can. And I really look forward to those of you who participated to that. I hope to see many of you here on our campus, and please take care in this year of 2020, I think the unforgettable year that we would all like to forget. Thank you.